we're on the second part of our presentation today, which is how to work efficiently. Now, when you want to work, you need to understand what's expected from you, right? So you need to understand the work landscape. You need to adhere to the specifications of the works that are requested, and you need to ensure high quality deliverables. Deliverables is what you give your client at the end of the day. So at the end, what goes to them? So let's say you go to Apple, the iPhone, that's your deliverable. So Apple has to deliver you your iPhone. They're not going to deliver you engineering diagrams. That's not the deliverables. The deliverables is the phone that you have in your hand. Next, exceeding the expectations. So you need to ensure that you exceed everyone's expectations and that you deliver your work on time. This way, clients will come back to you and they'll be happy. And to do this, you need to work with agility. Only if you work with agility can you deliver high quality work effectively. Now let's understand the work landscape a little bit better. So to do this, there are 3 questions you have to ask yourself. Who are you doing the work for? How did you receive this assignment from the requester? And when is this assignment complete? Who are you doing the work for? So are you working for a client or are you working for a co-worker, right? Next, if you're working for a client, is this for a specific person or is this for a company this person represents? And if you're working for a co-worker, is it your manager or your teammate? So you have to structure your approach accordingly. I'll give you an example of what it means if you're working for a person or if you're working for the company this person represents. Let's say you are in.
Let's go further. How am I doing on time? Okay. We'll just go through quickly on some of the myths we carry with the leadership. So we think for being leadership, you need to have position. Leadership is a phenomenon which each one of us can have. Each one of us can think like a leader. You need not have position. Once you think like a leader, position will follow you. It is the reverse. Some of us think, oh, I am not a head boy, so I'm not a leader, and therefore why do I need to worry about all this? No, that's not the case. Someone became the head boy because he had the leadership thinking. So change your leader, get to the leadership thinking, position will follow you. Similarly, some of us feel, oh, I'm not so popular in the school. Some of the students are so well known, they are so famous, and therefore leadership is not my cup of tea. Again, you don't have to be in that position. There are a lot of people, I don't know how many of you keep track of Padma Shri awards given in India. There are so many leaders which have been awarded that they were doing such a wonderful job on ground level and they were recognized and they became popular overnight. So please remember, do your act, this will follow automatically. So don't isolate yourself.
Best key learning takeaway today I want to give you is manage yourself first to manage others. Lead yourself first to lead others. Set vision for you before setting vision for others, the team. So everything, first do it on yourself, then go, you will be an achiever. Otherwise, it's tough. It may not work like that. Okay, so let's understand the traits and skills. Okay, how many of you know about traits? Traits mostly inborn. Okay, when you are born, you get certain traits, and skills are learned. So when you look at ourselves, we have a lot of traits, which I will list few of them so that you can understand what they are, and you cannot change them. You cannot change the traits that inborn. Like, if you are a very empathetic, altruistic person, you will be like a servant leader. You will be like an altruistic leader who take every pain and, like everything for the team. You sacrifice for the team because you're an altruistic leader. If you are a person who's accountable leader or result-oriented leader, you say, I don't care about anything. I want the result. So you just, all these traits are within you. Like, India, I don't know how many of you are from India. We have a, categorization of people like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. These are, around their inborn traits, the Brahmins are very, kind of learning oriented and spiritual oriented, and the Kshatriya are just like, they fight for the kingdom like that. Likewise, you all have a trait within you. So what happens is the traits, when the traits are there, but you can modify the traits, okay? The skills, there is no other way other than learning it. So learn from the best masters, best coaches. best mentors. That is where you build your skills. Okay, so what are these traits and nurturing or learning will do for you? How many of you think that leaders are born or leaders are made? You can just put your answers here on the chat box. Do you think leaders are born or made? You can put either born or made. Start putting it. Yes, made. Made. Everyone is made. Nobody says leaders are born. Oh my God. Nobody is a born leader. Nobody is a born leader. No, made. Made. That's what we do here. Maybe through the workshops, you said both. Born. Ah, I got born. One born, two born, either born. Both. Born, made, born. That's good. They're participating and I can see the enthusiasm. That's good.
Leadership is the capacity to frame certain plans that will succeed and the faculty to persuade others to carry them out in the face of all difficulties, even death.
Yeah. Sharath, would you please unmute? We don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sharath, okay. The leadership is the capacity to frame certain plans that will succeed and the faculty to pursue others to carry them out in all the difficulties, in the face of difficulties, even death. This is from Dr. Moran, M-O-R-A-N. I don't know how to pronounce. I think that is the correct way. You can check it later. M-O-R-A-N. And he was a doctor to Winston Churchill, Second World War hero. Okay. Sharath, which are the points is striking your mind? This is a single sentence. Which one we have to give the importance?
So leadership is like a person, like it's like when we have the ability to frame like plans which succeeds.
Okay.
And
okay. Just go through it and Riju, which the single sentence, which one you used to give more importance? Whatever Sharath, that is right. Okay, congrats. Riju? You can unmute and you can have. In this sentence, which word, which part of that sentence you like more important?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So, in my favorite part of the sentence is like the last few lines. And the faculty to persuade others to carry them out of the face of their difficulties, of all their difficulties, even death. So this World War hero, why would we call him a hero if he had not carried his colleagues out of death itself? So only by helping others had he become a leader, had he become a hero.
Oh, which are the points it is striking your, Arjun? Which are the points in this sentence which is giving more importance, or do you like to highlight which are the points?
The points which I feel like are the most important is to persuade others.
Okay,
not really creating a plan.
Okay. Pursuing others. Okay, isn't it? Okay, that's nice. Okay, Alex Roy, can you? Mr. Alex Roy? Sorry, Master Alex Roy?
Sir, the line that strikes me the most is capacity to frame certain plans.
Okay, very good. Abhiram Harikesh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, the
Which
point that came into my mind at the beginning was leadership is the capacity to frame certain plans. So from that, I understood leadership is the beginning of success.
Beginning of Parimal.
The first thing is be a team player. I think it's quite typical. It's quite, I'm sure you heard of it all the time. But what does it mean to be a team player, right? Let's check the points out. First, it means that you are all united at a key mission. So when we looked at Avengers, right? At each Avengers movie, they were all united by one goal or one mission, right? The first Avengers, they all came together to defeat Loki, right? The second Avengers, they all came together to defeat Ultron. Avengers 3 and 4, Infinity War and Endgame was all about beating Thanos, right? And his army and whoever was there in, his legions or whatever. So every single time that you're a leader or you're working in a team or trying to be a team player, there has to be this, big picture. What are you working towards, right? If you're not united on that, then you can't be a great leader, because at the end of it, if you're not united on the same vision, you guys don't know what you're fighting for, then things can go wrong, right? So everyone needs to know, what is our mission? What are you guys trying to achieve as a team? So that's the first thing to becoming a team player. And obviously that's the first step to becoming a good leader as well. The second bit is supporting each other's crazy ideas, right? Now, when you're in a team, no matter what kind of team you're in, it could be as simple as working on a school project together, like in class. I'm sure, like in history, geography, whatever you guys are studying, there's a lot of, or in 11th, it could be chemistry or business or whatever it is. There is key things, projects you might have, and you put it into a team, and I'm sure there's usually that one leader that manages all of it together. But some people in those teams might have a crazy idea, right? Like, for example, Ant-Man and Hawkeye in Civil War. Like, he shot the arrow with Ant-Man on it. And that was technically a very crazy idea, but Hawkeye supported it, right? So the same way, you guys need to support your friends if they have crazy ideas, within reason, obviously. Like, you can't just support any idea that they have if it's, completely out of this world. But make sure to support each other when it comes to those crazy ideas as well. That's a very, very key point. The third bit is accept each other's differences. Now, if you think about Avengers and Infinity War and Endgame, think of the team that came together, right? Like, this picture is a great example. Like, you have Thor, who's like technically the god of thunder. You have Groot, who's like this plant-based being. You have Rocket Raccoon, who's like a raccoon, fighting with guns. Those are three very different individuals who came together to form a team and fight against Thanos, right? And fight against the United Mission. But that wouldn't have worked if they did not accept each other's differences, right? You, in a team, there can be different people with different views. They might have different ideas, but if you're not accepting those differences, you're not going to be a good leader. You're not going to be a good team player. So no matter how, and all of the things I say, guys, also matters in the real world, right? This is not just applicable for school, but when you graduate school, when you go to university, when you get your first job, if you guys start your own companies, if you join clubs, if you decide to apply to be a prefect or head boy or whatever you do in life, all these things are going to help you, right? So accept each other's differences. That's quite important. Then making required sacrifices. So great thing about being a team player, or the big thing about being a team player or being a leader, is that you take sacrifice.
I'm going to give you a few bonus tips as well, right? A few extra things for my backpack. Gossiping and trash talking. Gossip and trash talk all the way. You have anyone making a mistake in your team, go to someone else and tell them that, okay, this guy made a few mistakes down there. He's a terrible team player. He calls himself an artist, but he can't draw a circle. It's just bad altogether. Gossip, trash talk. Why? What happens then? Well, gossip is one problem. It leads back to the person you were talking about. And when it reaches them, they feel demoralized. They wouldn't want to work with you anymore. They wouldn't want to work at all for whatever to take any instructions from you. And most importantly, if people see that you gossip or that you trash talk behind people's back, they will not want to work with you either. They want to alienate you, and that's just part of the package. We're here to become poor leaders. We take anything that we want. Being rigid in practices, basically being unwilling to change. We're not setting up any preparation for any untoward incident to happen during our product or during the conduct of any event. We're not preparing for any of that. We be rigid. We will not accommodate any last minute changes. If one person bails out, we won't look for a replacement. We just go ahead with the show regardless and just be as rigid as possible. We wouldn't take in a single advice that Mr. Vishal said yesterday about his PowerPoint presentation. Now, if he was not rigid, he was accommodated to change. He built a new PowerPoint. He asked his team to build a new PowerPoint from scratch. That's not what we do. We're rigid. We don't want to change at all. We just go in there and present without a PowerPoint. And finally, performing unrelated tasks. It's like group study. You're getting together with your friends. You want to study a certain topic. You've got a plan laid out in your mind, but you get there and you start talking about about the new post the Sidemen have made. You start talking that, right, they made a new Tinder video. Let's watch that. Let's talk about this other YouTuber, Bryce Hall versus Austin McBroom or whatever his name was. And we talk about those things, but we have to study,
in any
push that aside,
let
we'll
it
talk
be a
about
school
something
project,
else.
let it
Same
be
case
your
for
college
any
drama,
project
let
that
it
you're doing.
be
If you're
you're
trying to
doing
produce
designing a
skipping
product,
rope
or
that
you are trying
generates
to create a
electricity,
startup company,
throw that on the
whatever it is,
side.
wherever you are, there are some golden rules that you guys have to follow. Those will stand as a game changer when you are leading the team. Okay, you try to be the architect of the team. When you are a leader, or when you want to stamp yourself as a leader, understand what is the vision that you have to follow. What are the mission objectives that you will have to achieve as a part of the project? And first, you need to be clear. You see, team members come and go. When a leader is there, team members would come and go as a part of the project. But the leader needs to be clear of the end goals. If the leaders are unclear, then the people who work under you can never follow. So you are the building block, and people who work under you need to take the clarity from you. So be like an architect when you do it. The next role that you guys have to play is a proper planner. Okay, it is not enough if you know the vision. If your project needs to be successful, you guys have to have a short-term plan of what product you guys are going to do, and even a long-term plan. So I will give you one simple example that happened in my earlier career. Okay, we were doing one project for a Saudi Arabian customer. Mobily is one of the vendors or the telecom operators. Mobily is one of the telecom operators in Saudi Arabia. Okay, we were doing a project for them. They are at a very last minute. They decided that they wanted to launch 2G and 3G network together. Okay, now they came to us and then they told, we know that this project is going to take 10 months or 12 months to complete with the amount of work that we are trying to give. They told, I don't know what you guys will do. We are ready to pay twice of what you would normally get paid for the job, but we want everything to be done in 3 months. You see, it's a 1 year work. They want it to get done in 3 months. We did it successfully. In how many days? Not in 90 days. We finished it in 88 days and gave it to them. And then the customer was very happy. This requires meticulous planning, not just a short term and even in a long term, because they were having a phase 2 of the project. When we did the phase 1 itself, we had a long-term vision in our goal, and we made the team, or we prepared the team in such a way that we will be able to meet all the maintenance tasks for the project also in a long term. Okay, that is the key criteria that you need to keep in mind. Do not do any work ad hoc. If you don't plan a task, it will not be completed on time. Remember that. Let it be even a small task. Okay, and be an executor. Involve. If you are a leader, you want to pose yourself as a leader, please do involve into the project that is happening. Do not play a manager role and then go ahead and tell your team, you do that, you do this. Jump into what you're trying to do. Okay, that is what even the next point says. Be the conductor. Inspire yourself. Okay, concern. Have
that we call multipliers. So now I want you to consider the same scenario that I mentioned before. It's the same classroom, the same task. The task is the team has 20 minutes to come up with three ideas about how we can combat climate change. This time, we're going to be looking at Group B, and the leader of Group B, I'm going to call him Adam. So the thing is that, like Nathan, Adam also has three ideas. Adam is an equally intelligent person as compared to Nathan. So Adam also has three ideas. But instead of putting out all of his ideas to his team, he decides that the best course of action is to ask each team member to present one idea. And when his turn comes, he decides that instead of putting all of his three ideas out there, he chooses the best idea among his three ideas and he only presents that idea. Why? Because he thinks that if everyone is going to be presenting all of their ideas, you won't be able to do it in 20 minutes. It's just practicality. So the best course of action is for everyone to present one idea each. Then how do you select the 3 best ideas? According to Adam, he asks all of his members to give scores to all of the ideas. And then the 3 ideas which have the highest scores, they will be selected as the ideas that the team will present. So in my idea of leaders, Nathan is what I call a multiplier. Multiplier is a short word, is a short word that stands for the phrase multiplier of intelligence. Multiplier comes from the word multiplication, meaning to increase. So what does that tell us about the kind of leaders that multipliers are? They increase the intelligence of the group as compared to the individual intelligences of each team member. Once again, a multiplier is a leader who increases the intelligence of the group as compared to the individual intelligences of each of the team members. Now, the first and one of the most important points about multipliers is that they consider themselves to be what I like to call the genius maker. What that means is that Adam's aim as a leader is not to become a smarter person. Well, he might want to be smarter as an individual, but when he's a leader, his aim is to bring out the best in his team members. And by that, what do I mean, bring out the best? Adam believes that each team member has something to offer, and his responsibility, his duty as a leader is to bring that out. Number 2, Adam looks at each idea for what it has to offer. Adam does not compare ideas.
Next, what are some barriers on communication? You have to focus on the messenger, on the message and not the messenger. Just because someone is talking to you in an accent that you don't understand does not mean you focus on the accent and zone out. You try to ensure that you can understand at least a little bit of what this person is saying. If you have a doubt, clarify it with them, right? Don't be distracted by the speaker's style, their communication, their appearance, or their reputation. Sometimes if you're an intern at a company and the vice president comes to you and it's like, how are you doing? How is your internship going? Sometimes you'll be like, oh my God, the vice president is talking to me, and they zone out. Or when you're talking to a celebrity, for example, you're like, oh my God, I met this person. So, you zone out at that point. So it's important to not focus on the messenger, but rather the message, and communicate effectively. Avoid your personal agendas, right? So sometimes people listen to what they want to hear, and they form their opinions based upon a small amount of experience or one experience, and they assume that that is a representative of the whole situation. So don't do that. Just because it might be a bad day, and you go in and the teacher or the boss is in a disturbed mood, and they're like, come sit down. What are you doing today? Okay, get it done as soon as possible. So by that, you might assume that this person is very grumpy. This person does not listen to whatever I want to say. But don't perceive that, or don't re-support your facts. This is a very example. If you guys use Reddit, right, you can see this a lot, where people have their facts and opinions, and they try to seek out people who endorse them. So I feel that this is correct. Everyone's like, yeah, you're correct. So that is endorsing something. Whereas what you have to do is, for example, search for search for this concept. Let's say learning styles. Learning styles debunked. So search for that. See if there's any opposite message to whatever you're searching for. So that way, what you can do is you can get a diverse perspective and then form your approach and understanding appropriately. Right? Don't look at something based on how you want to look at it. Don't narrow it down. Another very important example that I'm seeing with my batchmates, right? So there are so many free courses, so many seminars, all of these things are available, but they're like, oh, okay, I'm not going for this. So let's say it's a seminar on medical safety, right? Basic first aid. something like that. And they're like, oh no, why will I need this? I'm going to engineering, or I'm going to software engineering. Why would I need to learn about, first aid or, basic medications? I don't need to know this. This is all medicine stuff. This is chemistry, biology. Not interested in this. So don't do that. Don't lock yourself or constrain yourself. Always try to get as much information as possible. On the point of information, avoid information overloads, right? Don't overload yourself with information, or don't overload anyone else with information. You guys know what this means. If someone gives you too much, you won't be able to focus on what they're saying. So it's important that you manage the way that you share information. Next, avoid external distractions, right? A phone ringing, messages, notifications. For example, if I was in this presentation and my phone just kept going on, or my phone was ringing all the time, that's not a very good way to communicate. So ensure that when you're communicating with someone, you have a safe environment to do so. Next, your inner voice. What I mean by inner voice is, let's say someone expresses something to you, I don't want to use an example that might be inappropriate, but let's say someone says something and you're like, oh my God, how can this person say that? That is totally wrong. Whatever his opinions are, he should keep it to himself. And whatever he's saying, that's not appropriate. So these are your inner voices. Now you are allowed to have your own, you are allowed to have your opinions, but don't let that affect the point that this person is making, or don't let that affect your understanding of this, right? Don't twist what this person is saying to fit your agenda or your understanding. Understand what that person's point is, and then later you can tell this person, see, this is what I believe you said. Is that correct? Okay, here is what I feel about what you said.